The Grand Council Chamber of the Galactic Empire stretched across an area larger than most cities on Earth. Its crystal dome ceiling revealed the swirling colors of 3 nearby nebulas, a constant reminder of the Empire's vast power and reach across the stars. Supreme Commander Marcus stood at the central platform, his tall figure casting a long shadow across the polished floor. His gray uniform, decorated with the golden symbols of 10,000 conquered worlds, gleamed under the light of artificial suns that floated near the ceiling. "These humans," he said, his voice echoing through the chamber, "have rejected our generous offer of protection for the last time." He waved his hand, and a hologram of Earth appeared in the center of the room, spinning slowly to show all its continents and oceans. The 500 council members from different species and star systems watched in silence. Some had tentacles, others had multiple eyes, and a few were even made of living crystal. But all of them shared one thing: absolute loyalty to the empire that had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. "For 200 years, we have watched them," Marcus continued, walking around the hologram. "We gave them time to understand their place in the galaxy, to accept our wisdom and protection. Instead, they dare to build their own fleet. They dare to explore beyond their solar system without our permission." A smaller council member with blue skin raised his hand. "Supreme Commander, perhaps we should give them more time. They are young, but their technology is advancing quickly." Marcus laughed, but there was no warmth in it. "Councillor Reed, your sympathy for lesser species is well known. But look at their primitive ships." The hologram changed to show Earth's space fleet. "They have barely mastered basic faster-than-light travel. Their weapons are simple. Their shields are weak. They are children playing with toys." The chamber filled with quiet laughter. Many council members nodded in agreement, looking at the human ships with clear disgust. "But they are dangerous children," Marcus added, his face becoming serious. "They refuse to share their resources. They make alliances with neutral worlds without our approval. They spread dangerous ideas about independence." He spat the last word like it was poison. The hologram changed again, showing graphs and numbers. "Their population grows faster than any species we have encountered. They adapt to new environments quickly. They learn and change their technology in ways that don't follow the proper scientific path." An older council member stood up, his metallic skin reflecting the light. "What do you suggest, Supreme Commander? We cannot allow them to continue like this." Marcus smiled, and many council members felt a chill despite the warm air. "The time for patience is over. Earth must be contained. Their fleet must be destroyed. Their colonies must be taken. They must learn their place in the natural order." He pressed a button on his command pad, and the hologram showed a massive fleet of Imperial warships. "I have prepared a containment fleet, 1,000 of our best ships, enough power to conquer 50 normal worlds. The humans will have no choice but to surrender when they see it." The council chamber erupted in applause. Marcus waited for it to quiet down before speaking again. "Some of you may think this is too much force for one small world, but I have studied human history. They are stubborn. They fight even when they cannot win. This show of power will prevent any foolish resistance. When do we begin?" Someone asked from the back of the chamber. Marcus looked up at the nebulas through the crystal dome. "The fleet leaves tomorrow. In 1 month, Earth will be under our protection, whether they wish it or not. Their mistake was thinking they could challenge the natural order of the galaxy. Our generosity has ended." As the council members stood to leave, Marcus kept staring at the hologram of Earth. Such a small planet, he thought. Such a simple species. In his 50 years as Supreme Commander, he had overseen the addition of 100 worlds to the Empire. This would be no different. But deep in his mind, a tiny voice whispered a warning. He ignored it, just as he ignored the reports about human innovation, their unusual way of solving problems, and their strange ability to unite against outside threats. It would be the biggest mistake of his life. 200 years earlier, humanity had its first meeting with the Galactic Empire. The massive Imperial ship appeared suddenly in Earth's orbit, its hull shining like liquid metal under the sun. At 15 kilometers long, it was larger than any city humanity had built in space. Inside the United Earth Government building in Geneva, world leaders gathered in the emergency council room. Screens covered every wall, showing the alien ship from different angles. Military advisors studied radar data while diplomats prepared for first contact. "They're broadcasting a message," announced General Wilson, his weathered face illuminated by holographic displays. "It's in perfect English. They must have been studying us for some time." President Rogers stood at the center of the room, her gray hair neatly tied back. "Put it through." The main screen lit up with the image of Ambassador Thomas, a tall humanoid with pale blue skin and silver eyes. His smile showed too many teeth. "People of Earth," he said, his voice smooth and practiced. "The Galactic Empire welcomes you to the greater community of spacefaring races. We have watched your progress with great interest." The room remained silent as Thomas continued. "We offer you protection under our banner. Your world will prosper as part of our great empire. We ask only for your loyalty and a small portion of your resources." President Rogers stepped forward. "Ambassador, we are honored by your greeting. Humanity has long wondered if we were alone in the universe. We look forward to peaceful discussions about our futures." Thomas's smile faded slightly. "There is nothing to discuss. We offer protection. You will accept. This is the natural order of things." General Wilson's hand tightened on his chair. Something in the ambassador's tone made him nervous. "Perhaps," Rogers said carefully, "you could tell us more about this protection. What exactly would it mean for Earth?" "Simple," Thomas replied. "You will give us 30% of all your resources. We will protect you from dangerous species. Your ships will only travel where we allow. Your colonies will be under our control. Your military will serve the Empire." The room erupted in whispers. Rogers held up her hand for silence. "Ambassador," she said, "while we appreciate your offer, Earth is an independent world. We would prefer to discuss a treaty between equals." Thomas laughed. The sound was like breaking glass. "Equals? Your civilization is barely 2,000 years old. Your ships can barely reach your own solar system. You are children. We are being generous by offering protection instead of simply taking what we want." One of the diplomatic advisors passed Rogers a tablet. On it was new information about the Empire, secretly gathered by Earth's first AI spy programs that had followed the ambassador's transmission back to its source. Rogers read quickly, her face growing darker. The Empire's protection was nothing but slavery. Their protectorate worlds were stripped of resources. Their people were used as cheap labor. Any resistance was met with immediate force. "Ambassador," Rogers said, her voice firm, "we have a saying on Earth. A bad deal is worse than no deal at all. We decline your offer of protection." Thomas's friendly mask disappeared. His silver eyes turned cold. "You do not have a choice. The Empire does not ask. The Empire commands." "Then we have nothing more to discuss," Rogers replied. She nodded to General Wilson, who cut the transmission. The room burst into activity. Military commanders rushed to defense stations. Intelligence officers hurried to analyze all available data about the Empire. But in the middle of the chaos, Rogers noticed something strange. The Empire ship was leaving. "They'll be back," General Wilson said, watching the ship disappear into faster-than-light travel. "And next time, they won't send diplomats." Rogers looked around the room at the faces of Earth's leaders. Instead of fear, she saw determination. Already, people were making plans, sharing ideas, thinking of ways to defend against the Empire. "Then we'll be ready," she said. "Humanity didn't climb out of the caves, survive ice ages, cross oceans, and reach the stars just to become slaves to the first powerful empire we met." In space, Earth's first AI defense systems were already learning from the Empire's ship design. In labs across the planet, scientists began working on new technologies. In factories, advanced 3D printers started producing stronger materials. The Empire had made a crucial mistake. They had given humanity time to prepare. And if there was one thing humans were good at, it was preparing for a fight. The Imperial Containment Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. 1,000 warships, their metal hulls black as space itself, moved in perfect formation. Each ship was 5 kilometers long, armed with weapons that could crack planets. Fleet Commander Oliver stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching Jupiter's storms swirl in the distance. His gold-trimmed uniform reflected the light from nearby displays showing Earth's defensive positions. "Pathetic," he said, studying the human fleet. "Only 200 ships, and so small." He turned to his crew. "Send the demand for surrender. Give them 1 hour." On Earth, Admiral Jane Baker of the Earth Defense Force received the message in her underground command center. The walls were lined with advanced holographic displays showing every ship, every weapon, and every piece of space debris in the solar system. She smiled as she read the surrender demand. "Send our response," she ordered. The message was simple: no. Oliver received Earth's answer with a laugh. As expected, all ships begin the attack. Standard formation. The Imperial fleet moved forward in a perfect arrow shape, just as they had done in 1,000 battles before. Their sensors showed Earth's ships staying in defensive positions around their planet. Admiral Baker, one of her officers, called out, "The Empire's ships are approaching exactly as the AI predicted." Baker nodded. For 200 years, humanity had prepared for this day. While the Empire thought they were watching Earth, Earth had been watching them, learning their patterns, finding their weaknesses. "They're so predictable," Baker said. "Launch the drones." From hidden bases on Mars and the asteroid belt, 10,000 small drones shot toward the Imperial fleet. Each one was controlled by a different AI, each AI thinking in ways no Imperial computer could predict. Oliver saw the drones on his screens and dismissed them. "Point defense systems will handle these toys. Continue the advance." But these weren't ordinary drones. As the Imperial ships fired their defensive weapons, the drones split apart. Each piece was itself the smaller drone. Then those split again, and again. "Impossible," Oliver shouted as his screens filled with millions of targets. Their technology shouldn't be capable of this. The drones swarmed around the Imperial ships like angry bees. They weren't trying to destroy the massive warships. Instead, they targeted sensors, communications arrays, and navigation systems. Weapons that could destroy planets were useless against targets too small to hit. "Reform the fleet," Oliver ordered, but his ships couldn't communicate properly. The perfect formation fell apart. Baker watched from Earth as the Imperial fleet scattered. "They still think this is a normal battle," she said. Phase 2. Hidden in the debris field of the asteroid belt, Earth's real fleet waited. These ships weren't the decoys the Empire had seen. They were smaller, faster, and carried weapons the Empire had never seen before. "All ships, execute Jump Plan Delta," Baker commanded. The Earth fleet appeared inside the Imperial formation, using short-range jumps that the Empire's scientists had said were impossible. Each human ship targeted a specific Imperial vessel, using weapons guided by AI systems that thought faster than any organic mind. Oliver watched in horror as 30 of his ships were disabled in the first minute. Not destroyed. The humans were being careful, precise. They were disabling engines, weapons, and shields with surgical accuracy. "This isn't possible," he said, watching another group of his ships go dark. "They're supposed to be primitive. They're supposed to be simple." On her command screen, Baker saw the Imperial fleet falling into chaos. The Empire's rigid battle doctrine had no answer for an enemy that didn't fight the way they expected. "Send the final message," she ordered. On every Imperial ship still able to receive communications, the same message appeared: "You assumed we would fight like you. That was your mistake. Surrender now." Oliver stared at the message. Then at his fleet map showing more ships going dark every second. In just 10 minutes, humanity had done what no species had done in 50,000 years. They had beaten the Imperial fleet's perfect formation. And they were just getting started. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, in a facility unknown to the Empire, Earth's greatest secret was about to be revealed. The chamber stretched for kilometers, filled with rows of quantum computers that hummed with power. This was the true heart of humanity's defense system. Dr. Robert Walker stood before the main control panel, his hand steady despite the weight of the moment. Around him, hundreds of scientists and military personnel watched the battle screens showing the disabled Imperial ships. "Begin Project Prometheus," he ordered. Across the solar system, hidden transmitters activated. The quantum computers on Mars connected with others buried on Earth's moon, in the asteroid belt, and even floating in the sun's corona. Together, they formed humanity's masterpiece, the first true artificial general intelligence network spread across space itself. On the bridge of his damaged flagship, Fleet Commander Oliver was trying to restore order. "Get those ships back in formation. Where are our reinforcements?" "Sir," his second-in-command reported, "something strange is happening to our systems." The Imperial ship's computers were among the most advanced in the galaxy, but now they were facing something entirely different. Humanity's AI network didn't try to break through their defenses. It simply thought in ways the Imperial computers couldn't understand. In Earth's command center, Admiral Baker watched as Project Prometheus did its work. "Send in the boarding teams." Special ships, completely invisible to Imperial sensors, approached the disabled Imperial vessels. Inside were Earth's best soldiers, wearing powered armor that made them stronger and faster than any Imperial warrior. Oliver saw the first boarding team enter his ship through cameras that were still working. The humans moved like water, their armor letting them run on walls and ceilings. Imperial soldiers fired their weapons, but the humans seemed to know where the shots would go before they were fired. "How are they doing this?" Oliver demanded. The answer was simple but impossible for the Empire to accept. Every human soldier was connected to the AI network. It predicted enemy movements, guided their actions, and coordinated their attacks with perfect precision. But unlike Imperial battle computers, this AI learned and adapted with every passing second. Dr. Walker watched the data flowing through his quantum computers. "They still don't understand," he said to his team. "The Empire thinks technology must follow their rules. They never imagined we would take a different path." In space, more Imperial ships fell silent as human boarding teams took control. The Empire's warriors were brave, but they were fighting an enemy that could think 1,000 moves ahead. An enemy that had spent 2 centuries preparing for this exact battle. "Sir," one of Oliver's officers called out, "we're detecting energy readings from Earth. They're like nothing we've ever seen." On the surface of Earth's moon, massive rings of metal began to spin. They were particle accelerators, but not like any the Empire had seen. These were built using principles of physics the Empire had dismissed as impossible. "Fire the gravity lance," Baker commanded. The rings spun faster. Space itself seemed to bend. A beam of invisible force shot out, catching a group of Imperial ships. Instead of destroying them, it simply increased their gravity 1,000 times. The mighty warships became too heavy to move, trapped like flies in amber. Oliver watched helplessly as more gravity lances activated across the solar system. The Empire's mighty fleet was being captured, not destroyed. The humans weren't just winning. They were taking the Empire's best technology for themselves. "Send the signal," he said quietly. We surrender." In the Mars facility, Dr. Walker nodded in satisfaction. "Phase 1 complete," he announced. "Begin uploading our improvements to their ship designs." The AI network was already studying the Imperial ships, finding ways to make them better. Humanity hadn't just prepared to fight the Empire. They had prepared to surpass them. On Earth, Admiral Baker sent a message to all human forces. "The Empire thought we spent 200 years cowering in fear. Instead, we spent it preparing to show them humanity's true potential. Now, we take the fight to them. The real war was just beginning, and humanity was ready. 3 months after the Battle of Earth, the Imperial High Command faced a nightmare they never imagined possible. On the main display of their war room, red dots showed systems where humans had appeared. Each dot represented an Imperial defeat. Supreme Commander Marcus slammed his fist on the table. How? How are they moving so fast? The answer appeared on a nearby screen. The humans hadn't just captured Imperial ships. They had improved them. The stolen vessels now moved twice as fast. Their weapons hit harder, and their shields were stronger. But worst of all, they could appear anywhere without warning. Another fleet lost in the Orient sector. An officer reported. They appeared inside our defense grid, disabled our ships, and disappeared with our best technology. Marcus watched another red dot appear on the map. The humans weren't following any known rules of war. They didn't try to hold territory or establish supply lines. They simply appeared, struck, and vanished. In deep space, Admiral Baker stood on the bridge of her new flagship, a captured and improved Imperial warship. The vessel was now controlled by a mix of human crew and AI systems, making it more powerful than its builders ever imagined. "Next target," she ordered. The ship's quantum AI calculated the jump instantly, finding gaps in space-time that Imperial science said didn't exist. They appeared above an Imperial factory world. But instead of attacking, Baker sent a message to the planet's population. "The Empire lied to you. You don't need their protection. Look what humanity achieved by staying free." The factory world's leaders watched in amazement as the human ships demonstrated technology that combined Imperial science with Earth's innovations. Within hours, the planet declared independence from the Empire. Back in the Imperial war room, Marcus received more bad news. "Sir, it's not just the humans. 3 more Protectorate worlds have revolted. They're asking the humans for help." This was the Empire's worst fear. Their perfect order was breaking down. The humans weren't just fighting. They were showing others how to be free. Dr. Walker, now coordinating operations from a secret base in Imperial space, watched the revolution spread. The Empire's greatest weakness, he told his team, was thinking everyone had to follow their rules. The quantum AI network had grown far beyond the solar system. Every captured ship, every freed world added to its power. But unlike Imperial eyes, this network worked with humans instead of just following orders. On an Imperial core world, a young officer named Peter watched human ships free another colony. He saw how their crews worked together, humans, A's, and even freed Imperial citizens. There was no rigid hierarchy, no single way of doing things. Everyone contributed their best ideas. "Sir," Peter reported to his commander, "I don't think we can win this war. The humans, they don't think like us. They don't fight like us. Every time we adapt to their tactics, they create new ones." The Empire had always won wars through overwhelming force and perfect order. But now they faced an enemy that turned chaos into strength. Humans mixed technologies in ways the Empire thought impossible. They transformed weaknesses into advantages. Admiral Baker received word that another sector had broken free from Imperial control. But instead of conquering it, she sent teachers, engineers, and scientists to help its people build their own future. The Empire's mistake, she told her crew, wasn't just attacking Earth. It was thinking that their way was the only way. In the Imperial capital, Marcus finally understood the truth. The Empire had spent 50,000 years forcing everyone to follow their rules. The humans had spent 200 years learning to break those rules in clever ways. "Send the message," he ordered quietly. "Pull all forces back to core worlds." For the first time in Imperial history, they weren't just losing a war. They were losing their grip on the galaxy itself. And humanity was showing everyone a new way to live among the stars. In the Imperial capital's war room, Supreme Commander Marcus watched his empire crumble. Half the star map was now marked in red, showing territories either under human control or declared independent. The remaining blue sectors blinked uncertainly, like dying stars. "Play the latest battle recording," he ordered. The hologram showed an Imperial defense fleet guarding a vital supply world. They had followed every lesson learned from previous defeats. Their formation was random to confuse human eyes. Their shields were modified. Their weapons were upgraded. None of it mattered. The human ships appeared from impossible angles, using space itself as a weapon. They didn't just bend the rules of physics, they rewrote them. Imperial scientists had said it couldn't be done, but the humans had found a way. "Sir," his advisor reported, "we've lost contact with the Centauri sector, but it's different this time." The recording showed something new. Instead of capturing the Imperial ships, the humans were teaching their crews. They showed them how to improve their own vessels, how to think differently, how to be free. In Earth's new Forward Command Center, built inside a captured Imperial space station, Admiral Baker reviewed the latest reports. "Another 50 Imperial ships have requested to join our fleet," she announced. Dr. Walker, working at a console nearby, nodded. "They're finally understanding. We never wanted to destroy the Empire. We wanted to change it." The quantum AI network displayed a new analysis. Imperial crews who chose to join humanity were learning faster than expected. They brought their own ideas, their own innovations. The network grew stronger with each new mind that joined it. Back in the Imperial capital, Marcus called an emergency meeting of the High Council. The Grand Chamber felt empty now. Half the council members had already declared their worlds independent. "We were wrong," Marcus announced, his voice echoing in the quiet room. "We thought order meant control. We thought progress had to follow our rules. We thought strength meant forcing others to be like us." The council members watched in silence as he continued. "Look at what the humans have achieved in just 1 year of war. They haven't just beaten us. They've shown us how limited our thinking was. Their ships now combine technologies we thought were impossible. Their AIs work with organic minds in ways we never imagined. They turn enemies into allies by showing them a better way." On a former Imperial factory world, human engineers worked alongside their former enemies. They weren't just building better ships, they were creating new ways for different species to work together. The rigid hierarchy of the Empire was being replaced by something more flexible, more creative. Peter, the young Imperial officer who had seen the truth earlier, now commanded a joint human-Imperial vessel. His crew included former enemies, AIs, and even members of species the Empire had once called primitive. "The humans didn't just win battles," he told his crew. "They showed us that diversity makes us stronger. Different ways of thinking aren't a weakness, they're an advantage." In orbit around Earth, Admiral Baker received an unexpected message. It was from Supreme Commander Marcus himself, requesting a direct meeting. "They're finally ready to talk," she told her staff. "But this time, it won't be about surrender. It will be about working together." Dr. Walker's quantum AI network calculated the possibilities. The Empire's rigid thinking was like a wall, he explained to his team. Humanity didn't just break through that wall. We showed them how to turn walls into bridges. In the Imperial capital, Marcus prepared for his journey to Earth. He looked at the grand symbols of Imperial power around him. The massive buildings, the perfect order, the golden emblems of authority. They all seemed small now. "Our greatest mistake," he wrote in his final order as Supreme Commander, "wasn't just challenging humanity. It was thinking our way was the only way. Humanity didn't defeat us. They freed us from our own limitations." The age of the Empire was ending, but something better was taking its place. And it all started because they underestimated a single species from a small blue planet. The signing ceremony took place in orbit above Earth, inside a massive space station that combined the best of human and Imperial engineering. Through its crystal windows, ships from 100 worlds floated peacefully together. Each one was different, showing how innovation had spread across the galaxy. Supreme Commander Marcus, now wearing a simple gray uniform without any imperial symbols, stood before the gathered representatives. On the other side of the table, Admiral Baker and Dr. Walker represented Earth. Between them sat delegates from worlds that were once imperial protectorates, now free nations. 1 year ago, Marcus began, I stood in the imperial chamber and called humanity primitive. Today, I stand here to admit that we were the primitive ones, not in our technology, but in our thinking. The document before them was unlike anything the galaxy had seen. It wasn't a surrender treaty, it was a partnership agreement. The Empire would transform into a galactic council where all worlds had an equal voice. Humanity taught us the greatest lesson in our 50,000 years of history, Marcus continued. True strength doesn't come from controlling others. It comes from working together, from sharing ideas, from accepting different ways of thinking. Admiral Baker stepped forward. We never wanted to destroy the Empire, she said. We wanted to show that there's a better way. Look around this room. Former enemies now work together. Technologies once thought impossible are now common. Ideas flow freely between worlds. Dr. Walker's quantum AI network, now expanded across thousands of worlds, displayed a stunning visualization. It showed how knowledge and innovation had spread since humanity broke free. Like a beautiful web of light, ideas connected different worlds, different species, different ways of thinking. This is the true power of humanity, Dr. Walker explained. Not our weapons or our eyes, but our ability to adapt, to learn from others, and to share what we know. Peter, the former Imperial officer who had seen the truth early, now commanded the joint fleet protecting the ceremony. His crew included humans, former Imperial citizens, AI cores, and members of species once considered primitive. They worked together smoothly, each contributing their unique strengths. Look at my ship, he said to a group of young officers. We don't follow rigid rules anymore. We take the best ideas from everyone. Human creativity, imperial engineering, AI processing, and wisdom from 100 worlds. Together, we're stronger than we ever were apart. The signing began. Each representative added their mark to the document. But this wasn't just a piece of paper. It was connected to the quantum network, becoming a living agreement that would grow and adapt with time. Let this be recorded in history, Marcus announced. The Empire's greatest mistake was thinking we had nothing to learn from others. Humanity didn't just defeat us, they showed us a better path. Admiral Baker looked out at the Earth below. 200 years ago, your ship appeared above our world, demanding our submission. Today, we offer something better, true partnership. The quantum network registered the final signature. Across the galaxy, celebrations began on thousands of worlds. But this wasn't just a celebration of victory. It was a celebration of transformation. In the station's main hall, humans mingled with former enemies, sharing stories and ideas. Scientists from different worlds discussed new possibilities. I-cores connected with organic minds, creating new ways of thinking. Dr. Walker watched it all through the station's cameras. The Empire thought they were watching us for 200 years, he said. But we were learning something they have forgotten. The power of working together. Marcus approached Baker privately after the ceremony. You could have destroyed us, he said. Why didn't you? Baker smiled. Because that's not who we are. Humanity's strength isn't in destruction. It's in transformation. We didn't want to end the Empire. We wanted to help it evolve. As the Earth turned below them, the gathered representatives looked to the stars. The galaxy was entering a new age. Not an age of empire or control, but an age of cooperation and shared discovery. And it all began because one empire made the mistake of thinking humanity was primitive. They would never make that mistake again.